is going on, everybody? Yes. Welcome to Monday Night Madness. Yeah, that's right. My favorite time of the year. It's like a holiday. It's better than Christmas. It's better than Thanksgiving. It's better than the 4th of July. Well, without the blowing up your hands off with fireworks and whatnot. But it is March. It is the tournament. It is one loss, and you're going home crying to mama. That's right. March Madness. I love it. And let me tell you, everybody watching tonight, you are in for a treat. Because the whole show, the entire show, all of it, and I'm not stopping till I'm done, is dedicated to the brackets. And I'm not talking about putting up some shelves, people. I'm talking about March Madness. That's right. We're going to fill out a live bracket tonight on the show for you with analysis for every team and every matchup all the way to who I think is going to be the champion this year. And you can join in because in the comments here you'll see links to join us from our friends at Intrust We Sports. The Intrust We Madness Tournament Bracket Challenge. And it's free. It's free. You know what? It is free. But it's not. Here's why. I'm going to Venmo or PayPal whoever wins $50. Boom. Welcome, people. $50 to the winner. On me. I know Anthony and Josh listen. Anthony and Josh, put that on Twitter right now. At me saying I'm giving $50 my hard-earned cash to the winner. That's how confident I am that I am going to win the tournament challenge. $50 cash to the winner. Free to enter. I want to get as many people as I possibly can in this thing. So let's do it. $50 on me. That's right. DMX.
Let's get it on.
DMX is in. We are doing it. So tonight, I'm pretty much going to give you my bracket. And all you got to do is beat me for your chance at $50 cash. That way I don't got to pay you taxes and all that stuff like that. Just $50 cash. Enjoy it. Take the wife out. Take the kids out. Go see a movie. Go see a Avengers Endgame maybe. Whatever you want to do with it. Spend it on hookers. I don't care. But if you beat me, you get $50. Boom. A 50. A straight 50. So here's what we're going to do tonight, real quick. Okay. Yes. Blake Bortles did sign with the Rams. He's going to be the backup to Jared Goff. That's about all the news I have in the NFL. So we're moving on and going straight into this. I'm going to bring on at Zaragoza Anthony, or Anthony Zaragoza, did you know him? Mr. A to Z, the alphabet represented well. And my brother from another mother in Josh Stanhill, who's going to join us as well. And we're going to go through each matchup, starting in the East, then the South, and then the West, and then the Midwest. And to show you, I'm not kidding around. I'm going to switch my views here. Boom. There's a live bracket right there on the screen on Facebook for you all to see. And as we talk about the matchups, we're going to fill it in, and we're going to create this whole bracket tonight. And this just may be the one that I put in to steal all you guys' hopes and dreams on the Intrust We Madness contest. The link provided below. Shall we get started? I think we shall. Let's bring them in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Josh Stanhill and Anthony Zaragoza.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, gentlemen? You guys ready to get some madness going on? I know I'm excited. Are you guys excited?
I'm super excited, but the thing is when I win the $50, I'm not going to put it on hookers, okay? I'm going to get divorced if I did that.
Oh, so just blow.
That escalated quickly. That escalated quickly.
It's a joke. None of us do that stuff, and we don't condone it either. It's just a joke, people. It's a joke. Jeez, don't take it seriously. Josh, are you ready to go tonight? I know you are.
Oh, I'm ready.
So here's how it works. There's three of us. We're going to go over each matchup, and I'm going to give you my stats and everything. And best 2 out of 3 gets the bracket. We move on. Except I can veto if it's both of you agreeing and me disagreeing. Fair enough?
Okay, Fidel Castro. Jeez Louise.
All right. So I'm going to switch back, guys. This is, by the way, at Zergos Anthony, at Jay Stanhill on Twitter. Follow them both. They're both great. They both have a lot of insights, a lot of good stuff. I know they've been following me. And by the way, I know a lot of you have been talking to me, DM me about my the wagering and stuff I've been doing. This is not wagering involved. This is just picking straight up, head-to-head money line who's going to win. I will have full wagering and stuff, and I even may do something later this week before it starts too, just to give you a list of who I think for the first round. And of course, I'm going to be live tweeting throughout the whole tournament by each time period about who I think is going to win and against the spread, which I killed it all through Champ Week last week. One day of the 5 days, I was in the negative, and it was only by a little bit. So it was pretty impressive, to say the least, last week. And I would like to thank Michigan State for the pick over Michigan that sealed the deal, as you would, on a Sunday before that beautiful bracket selection Sunday revealing that just makes me giddy, especially with Oregon's going to be in California on Friday. I can't say no to that. So, guys, let's go. Let's get the bracket. We're going to go to the live bracket here. You can see the live bracket here. Let's go up here to the east. And, of course, the number one overall seed and the moneymakers, the team that everyone thinks is going to win is probably, I'd say, about at least over 30, maybe 40% of brackets will have Duke as the overall winner. And rightfully so. They're probably, in my estimation, the best team in the field. I think everyone else who's a 1 and a lot of 2s are all around the same. But I think this is, you have a Kentucky situation a couple years ago with the whole Anthony Davis and Gilchrist type of team where it's like, okay, it's theirs to lose. And I really do feel that's how it is. Unless they get North Carolina in the championship. More on that later. Ooh, what? Did I just predict something? I don't know. But let's talk about Duke real quick. I'm not going to talk. Okay, real quick. North Dakota State and who's the other one? North Carolina Central.
North Carolina Central. Yep.
North Carolina. Okay, real quick on them because I promised I would do on every team. Okay, North Carolina Central. They're 18-15 this year. They barely cracked 500 in the regular season. They won their tournament. Congratulations. It was a great season. You get a free plane trip to to the NCAA where you play North Dakota State, who's probably going to beat you, and it probably won't even be close. And then congratulations to the Bison because they did have a 3-game skid towards the end of the season, came up strong in their tournament to win. They do have a good guard in Vinny Shahid, but at the end of the day, I think Duke just crushes them, and it's going to be close to a 28 to maybe 30-point spread on that one. And I think Duke takes it. I mean, do you guys like Duke as an overall number one, or do you have any one of those 16 teams pulling a University of Maryland Baltimore County this year? I doubt it, but what do you guys think?
Go Golden Retrievers, but no, I don't see that happening against Duke.
Yeah. Anthony, you're on that.
Yeah, Duke's just too strong. When Zion Williams is healthy with R.J. Barrett, they're just a different team. When Zion was out for those few games, they struggled, lost to North Carolina twice without him. But obviously in the AC Championship game, you saw how they are with him playing. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough beat for sure.
One thing about Duke, like I try to find a weakness. They are kind of low on 3-point shooting. They're only 30% as a team. That ranks over 300th nationally. So that could be an issue because threes become kind of part of the game, especially if they fall behind or anything to later on in the tournament. So that's the only weakness I could find on them. And let's not forget about Trey Jones too. I think another first-round pick, one of the great lockdown defending guards in the nation. And I think overall Duke puts it in. So if you're looking at the live bracket right now, I know you are. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pencil the Duke Blue Devils in here. I'm just going to click them, and boom, Duke is in on it. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is, I think, one of the great matchups, a 9 versus 8, UCF versus Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU, and, of course, University of Central Florida. How do you guys feel about this matchup? I think it's going to be a good matchup, a close matchup. VCU won the 12 in a row to end their season. Lost in the tournament, of course. They got Marcus Evans, solid team. They seem to be always good. VCU always seems to be there and always seems to win games in the tournament. But here comes UCF, who also had a very good end of the season as well. They were kind of on the bubble a little bit, but they got a couple of quad one wins, which is big for them in the season. They beat Houston and Cincinnati, both teams who I am high on extremely, and are there for that NCAA bid. Pretty much those two wins is what got them the bid in the first place. But does Central Florida have a chance against VCU? I like VCU personally in this matchup, only because I'm going with the star factor that VCU has with Marcus Evans. Do you guys like VCU or Central Florida?
Yeah, I like VCU, but when you got a guy named Taco on your team, you got to root for him, and that's my only reason I'm going for UCF. Taco Fall, he's not too shabby. They're a big guy. They play really good defense. They're not able to score a lot of points. Mm-hmm. I think they've only scored 70 points twice all season. So offensively, they're not strong, but anytime I can bet on a Taco, I'm going with it.
All right, Josh, you're the tiebreaker here, buddy. You got VCU or Florida.
It's not anything to do with the taco guy. It's everything to do with
tacos.
But I will say it's going to be a 6 points or less.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this game's going to be close.
And I'm going to go with Central Florida because of those big wins against Houston and Cincinnati, like you were saying.
Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put them in. So I'm going to put them in the board. So we have Central Florida, the minor upset over VCU. Okay, we're moving on down to Mississippi State versus Liberty. This game, I'm going to go back to the live view here so you guys can see my face. This game is very intriguing for a lot of reasons. Now, the Mississippi State Bulldogs have not been to the tournament since, I think, 2009? It's been a while. And I was like, wait, I swear they've been in there. But no, they have not. But they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the nation. They're coming in. They've played 15 Quadrant 1 games, winning 8, and their strength of schedule was 30th in the nation. So, it's a pretty solid team coming in here with a 5 seed, but it's one of those 5 versus 12 matchups that everyone talks about every year. There's always a 12 versus 5, but I think this is one of the weakest 12 versus 5. There are better 12 versus 5 that we'll get to later. And Mississippi State is going up against a Liberty team who, by the way, is game. I know they did upset Linscomb and in their Atlantic Sun tourney final, and Liberty is one of those little pesky teams that just bothers you. Full court pressure, they're going to be there. However, I think Mississippi State in the offensive rebounding, just keeping the ball alive, pulls it off, and I'm going Mississippi State in this one.
Yeah, I think you kind of spelled it out when you said this is probably one of the weaker, 5-12 matchups. Mississippi State, I think they know hit the 3 ball. They got some really quality wins against Cincinnati and Wolford, which I like Wolford later on. We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. But no, they got strong guard play. They can shoot the 3. And I think when it comes to tournament time, you have to be able to have really good guard play. So, yeah, I like the Bulldogs in this one.
Like it too. Josh, you agree or disagree?
I'm going to go with Liberty on this one. I think they're going to overlook them like crazy. And I really think Liberty's just going to be a pest, and I think they're going to score or beat them by at least 10 points, I think.
Whoa. Slow down,
well,
John.
You lose the bracket. You lose the bracket in this one. We're going to go to our live bracket. It's going to be Mississippi State because 2 of us with Mississippi State. But if you're in our bracket and you're listening, upset alert right there, 5 versus 12, Liberty. I kind of like it too, but I just think Mississippi State's going to win. But, again, that Liberty team is pesky. They weren't the best team in their own division. They just won the tournament. But I like them there. I think this one, we're all going to agree on this one. This is a team I love, by the way. I wish they didn't have to play Duke so early in Virginia Tech versus St. Louis. St. Louis won their tournament. They got in. They weren't the best team all year. They were the preseason favorites in the Atlantic 10, but eventually they kind of fell off. Came back in, and of course the Billikens, as you would, won their conference. Kind of a older team, a lot of seniors on the team. Javon Bess, who's probably their best player, he can finish and get to the paint. They kind of struggled down the hall, but here's the thing, though: they had wins over Seton Hall, North Carolina, and North Carolina Central. So I guess they kind of had their big wins, but overall, I don't like St. Louis in this one. Virginia Tech, They're getting a huge addition back from injury. You got, man, this team is loaded. You got Blackshear. You got Alexander Walker, who's going to be a top pick in the draft next year. Pretty much a high lottery pick. And they don't have depth, but all the starters, especially coming back from injury, Justin Robinson coming back from injury. This Virginia Tech team is loaded, and I love them. And I think this is a no-brainer. Virginia Tech dominates St. Louis. Take them and the over. Jeez.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that one. Yeah, the only way St. Louis has any chance in this one is if Best goes off, and that's gonna be tough. I don't know. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I just don't see it. Josh, you want to just move on from this?
Just move on.
Okay.
Put it on the board.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and go to the live bracket here, and I'm going to put Virginia Tech in there. You can see right there Virginia Tech is in. All right, moving to a matchup. Now, this one is intriguing because it depends on the Belmont-Temple game. I like Belmont beating Temple. They're a favorite. Belmont's one of those last teams in. They deserve to be in, and good for the kudos to the committee for recognizing them for being one of the top teams in the country. Don't like the Temple team. I did a lot of wagering on them over the year, and they just seem to lose every time. It really irritated me. But Belmont's been strong all year, and I mean, I think you got to go Belmont there. But against a Maryland team who's a 6th seed, but they've kind of been really up and down all year. They've had their moments, of course. They're in the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten had the most teams from their conference in the tournament. They're kind of lower in there. Again, they're good in offensive rebounds, but that's about it. They got Cohen, who's their leading scorer, and they got Fernando. But other than that, I mean, they turn the ball over so much, and I think they turn the ball like right here. Let me find it real quick. I have it. I wrote it down. It was so ridiculous. Oh, here we go. Maryland ranked 262nd in turnovers per possession at 19.8%. Whew. That is not good, especially in play. And I think the Belmont team, who hopefully the Belmont team beats Temple, I'm going to put it this way. If Belmont beats Temple, Belmont beats Maryland. If Temple beats Belmont, Maryland moves on. Gentlemen.
I'm just going to say it seems like every year there's always one of these playing 11 seeds that win that first round game. And a team like Maryland, I think, is the perfect upset candidate. They've been super inconsistent. They'll beat Wisconsin, Purdue, but then they'll lose to Nebraska in the first round of the Big Ten tournament.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
which Turpin's team is going to show up, I don't know. But it just seems like every year one of these playing 11 seeds wins a game. And I think this is that perfect situation where even if it's Temple, I still like it being an upset right here.
Yeah, but you got to like Belmont. I mean, they lost to Murray State, and Murray State is the star guard that no one's ever heard of in Mormont. So I like Belmont there. I think Belmont ultimately wins 2 games and does what VCU did a few years ago when they won the play-in game as an 11 and end up going all the way to the Elite 8. Josh?
I agree. If it is Belmont, they're going to be like the VCU that beats Duke that goes to the Final Four.
All right, I'm putting Belmont in. We're moving on.
It happened earlier, the VCU over Duke. Anthony, I know you're very surprised right now, but
Josh, did you just drink some muscle milk right now? Like I feel like you're amped up right now.
It's tournament time, baby. You don't know.
It's tournament time. That's what it is.
By the way, I want to let everyone know and go to live view real quick. After I'm done doing all the first round and we talk about all the teams, so we're going to go through each first round matchup. We've already talked about the teams. Then we're going to go quick. We'll just talk about the matchup real quick and go. We're not going to mention the players. We're not going to mention stats. We're just going to say, okay, now here's where we are. So this first round is going to go a little long, and then after that, we'll get going rather quickly. If you have any questions about any of these picks or brackets or any questions, put them in the Facebook, put them in the Twitter. Of course, feel free to ask us. I'm going to be here live the entire night answering as well. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's keep on going. Let's move it forward. Next up, we have LSU as a number 3 seed. Their coach has been suspended. He's trying to get back. He's paying too many kids to play for him against Yale, the Yale Bulldogs, who beat a game Harvard team, of course, in the rich folks bracket over there in Ivy League. So I personally think LSU, I know a lot of people are going to be on Yale on this. I've been watching kind of the spreads a little bit go up and down on this. But I like LSU getting through this first matchup against Yale. Yale's a very talented team. They can shoot threes. That's crazy. But one thing I noticed, they tend to get themselves in foul trouble. And they did both of their games in the Ivy League that they had to in the tournament, getting in foul trouble. They're lucky they won both. LSU has a star that's going to be a top pick next year in the draft. I think it's Tremont Waters. Is that it? Yeah, Tremont Waters. And then, of course, you have Yale, who has a ton of what I'm trying to say. Shoot. A ton of experience and an older team. They got Alex Copeland, who had a great tournament as well. I mean, the Ivy League tournament that they only played the semifinals and the final, but he was great in that, and pretty much single-handedly after the foul trouble got them over Harvard the other day. But I just think LSU, even with their coach problems, they're just too talented. They have a talented team. They don't without a coach. If you have a talented team, you have a talented team. You got Reed, you got Williams, you got Waters. I think they just run Yale out of the table. You guys agree?
No, yeah, they're super athletic, super talented. They got a lot of former ESPN top 100 recruits.
They do, yes.
They're stacked. So I think in this time, Yale, senior led team, but I don't know. I'm always going to go with talent at this point of the season.
I'm going LSU as well. Josh, you don't have a say, but you can give your word in. Well, it's already 2-0, so.
Yeah, Yale will beat them in the books. That's about as far as it gets.
I like that. You know what? And I guarantee you, I will probably have whatever the spread is. I will probably have Yale in that one as well. Moving on, one of the most intriguing matchups on the first round: Louisville and Minnesota. The son of Richard Pitino. Way to switch up names there. In Minnesota, head coach going up against his dad's old team in Louisville. Rick Pitino already came out and said he will not be there. And because he is suing Louisville currently for his firing, everything that went down there. An intriguing matchup. Louisville, great in the beginning of the year. Kind of fell through in the middle and then came up against strong in the end. At the end of the day, do they have enough? I don't know. They didn't get to the tournament last year. They're in the tournament this year. They really overachieved this year, kind of what they were doing. They went 4-6 in February. They were 6 in the ACC. They're one of those defensive teams that's really good on defense, but if their defense isn't clicking, then they give up a lot of points and lose. They struggle offensively, and comes in a Minnesota team who got kind of hot towards the end of the season. They were 7th in the Big Ten, but really had a great NCAA tournament, of course. They're a quick team, so defensive teams may get worn out quickly, which is what Louisville is. I like Minnesota. I like the son beating his dad's old team. I like the upset here in 10 Minnesota over Louisville only because of fast break points kind of wearing down that Louisville defense early and Louisville not having the offense to catch up.
No, I agree with you there. I think the way Minnesota's been playing as of late, even though they've been up and down, which you could probably say for a lot of these college teams, been super inconsistent, except for the top, teams that are at the top of each bracket. But hot teams sometimes find a way to win a couple of games, maybe one or two. Minnesota fits that billing, so I'm going to go with the Golden Gophers on this one.
All right, two against one against Josh, unless you think Louisville's going to pull it off.
No, Golden Gophers going to do it. And not only that, but they beat 5 teams that are in the NCAA tournament right now.
Yeah. No, yeah. They're Golden Gophers, man. I'm telling you. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Putting in right here on the board, and there it is. Golden Gopher. This one, okay, listen. We're not going to spend too much time on this. I like Bradley. They had a great run. They were 9-9 in the Missouri Valley. They had a great tournament. It was awesome. Congratulations. What else can I say? Darryl Brown's a great player. They're a good team. They're not a great team. Michigan State's getting healthy at the right time. They were preseason number ones for a reason. They beat the conference that has the most people or the most teams in the tournament. They won that conference tournament against Michigan. Michigan State, no brainer, beats Bradley. I mean, come on. Cassius Winston, Nick Ward. Widger, Matt McQuaid. It's just endless. This team is deep, and one of the best teams in the country. Should have been a number one in my opinion, guys. Michigan State.
Yeah, for sure. I think they got a tough draw on that side of the bracket. I think
They did.
any other
Oh, dude, totally.
bracket that they're in, I think they'd be heavy favorites. But Michigan State, Duke, that's going to be a phenomenal Elite Eight. If they obviously a lot has to happen, but if those guys trickle down, that's going to be a phenomenal one with Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo just, I don't know what it is. He just finds a way every year. They don't bring in some of the marquee guys like Duke and North Carolina, but they just play hard-nosed basketball. Tom Izzo gets them ready, and they're always in the mix. So, for sure, Michigan State.
All right, so that's all the first round matchups in the East. So we're going to go real quick right now, each person, and drop it like it's hot. That's right. Drop it like it's hot. Let me bring this up a little bit so you can see the full East region there. There you go on the screen. This is technology, man. This is great. You can see live bracket as we fill it in right here. And we're going to go rapid fire here. Duke, UCF. I have Duke. I have Zion Williamson being the beast that he is. RJ Barrett and company. Duke beating UCF by a lot. Moving on. You guys agree?
Move it on.
All right. Mississippi State, Virginia Tech. I love Mississippi State, but like I said, Virginia Tech's getting healthy. They're loaded at the right time. I think Virginia Tech is going to move on and play one of the best games of the tournament, which will be Duke, Virginia Tech. Moving on. You guys agree?
Give me the Hokies. Yep.
Okay, we got Belmont or Temple versus LSU. I say Belmont.
Dun, dun, dun.
I got LSU.
I say this is when LSU loses. They're without their coach. I know they have all that talent, but a lot of them has been talent for a while. They're all older upperclassmen now. Belmont's talented. Again, they lost to Murray State. More on them later when we talk about their matchup against Marquette. I think that Belmont team pulls it off, and LSU is really vulnerable right now. They showed it in their tournament, and I think they're vulnerable. I think Belmont moves on. Anthony, you'll be the deciding factor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Edward, but yeah, LSU. I was hyping them up too much early in the round to have them go out in the second round. They're just too talented. I got to go with the Tigers.
All right. I'm not going to veto that one. I'll take LSU.
You're not?
As well.
I thought that was going to be a perfect.
It was close for me. It was close for me. But in my bracket on the Intrust We Madness, by the way, the links are in Facebook. Check it out. Join tonight. We are. Justin says I haven't watched college basketball, but I'm pulling for Nevada. Yeah. But yeah, so join it. The bracket's free. I'm gonna give personally $50 to whoever wins. Boom.
Hey Edward, are you winning that much in betting where you're just gonna throw out $50? Is that what's going on here?
It's not called betting. It's called wagering, Anthony. And I've had a couple good weeks. Yes.
Can I borrow $50?
No, only if you win the tournament. Let's move on. So I'm going to move on. LSU in the live standings. There it is. LSU. Moving on. Minnesota and Michigan State. I just talked up Minnesota on the upset. I like that. All that adrenaline and everything from beating his dad's old team who he's suing. Not enough against Michigan State. Michigan State moves on over Minnesota easily.
Go Sparties.
All right, so we got Duke, Virginia Tech. I think one of the games of the tournament. I love this Virginia Tech team and this Michigan State team. I hate that they're in the same bracket as Duke. It drives me crazy. I don't agree with it at all. I think Virginia Tech should be better than a 4 seed, maybe a 3 seed, and I think Michigan State should be a 1 seed as well. I hate this. I hate this, but I have Duke only because they're the Kentucky of this year, and I just think Duke takes it in a wild one.
Oh yeah, I think, and especially in these kind of Sweet 16 Elite Eights, someone like Cam Reddish, another of their phenoms on that squad, I think he has a big game for them as well. So, give me the Dukes, unless Zion somehow gets hurt, like again in the North Carolina game.
Well, he's not wearing the Paul Georges anymore, so he'll be fine now.
I know he's going to the Kyries.
He's wearing the Kyries now. Yeah.
He's
Josh,
make that
you got Duke or you got Virginia Tech?
It's going to be Duke.
Cool. LSU, Michigan State. This is the slip up. Michigan State, Duke, what everyone wants. I got to have Michigan State. I think Michigan State and Duke are two of the most talented teams in this tournament. I can't believe I'm saying this again. Michigan State's not a 2. Michigan State is a 1. They should be a 1. But they're not. and it's going to be Duke, Michigan State to go to the Final Four.
Without a doubt.
And it sucks because that should be a Final Four matchup at best. So there you go. We got Duke and Michigan State, guys. Who goes to the Final Four between Duke and Michigan State? 2 powerhouses of NCAA.
This one pains me to say, but I got to go the Dukies.
I mean, the talent that's on there, they just know how to come back. And Krzyzewski knows how to make to drive those kids home to, no matter what, keep rolling. They'll never give up. So as powerful as Izzo is, they'll find a way, and Duke pulls it out.
What a matchup that's going to be. But I think Duke it is. So there you go. There's the East region. We have Duke winning over Michigan State, LSU, Michigan State, Duke, and Virginia Tech. By the way, I think all 4 of those teams are some of the top teams in the country and should not all be in the East. But what do I know? All right, so there is the East. We have Duke winning the East. We're going to go to the South now on the other side. And, oh boy, is this going to be fun because we get to talk about Virginia. Virginia. That's West Virginia, but still. Of course, we all know Virginia is the first team ever as the number 1 seed to lose to a 16. And whatever the spread is, take Virginia. Because there's no way in hell they're going to let it come even close to that again. They're going up against a Gardner-Webb team. That's right, Gardner-Webb. It's not a law firm. They won the Big South tourney. They were a 4th seed. They're the running Bulldogs, in case you were wondering. They have no centers, no big men. They're pretty much a perimeter shooting team, and the only chance they're going to have is to shoot threes. And but at least they know going into the game that Virginia has lost to a 16 seed before, so they have that going for them.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think there is. Virginia, of course, they got man. They're going to be looking past this. Tony Bennett, not the singer, the coach. You got Kyle Guy. He's been great all year. 15.6 points per game. NBA, he's going to make the NBA. Ty Jerome, he's going to be in the NBA. You got sophomore guard DeAndre Hunter. He's going to be in the NBA. A really good, solid team. Great defensively team. And really good against the 3, which just happens to be Gardner-Webb, all they can do. So I think Virginia, no-brainer, moves on.
Well, I wouldn't say no-brainer, but...
I'm going no-brainer.
No, yeah. I can't imagine. Like, if there was ever... I would love to see the Vegas line for a team to lose 2 straight seasons as the number 1 seed. Like, that would be like $1 gazillion to 1.
And if you parlayed it, whew.
Holy cow. No, the Cavaliers are just too strong. Get the Cavaliers moving on.
All right, so I'm going to come up here a little bit. You can't really see it on the screen. I'm going to move it up so you can see right there that we have moved Virginia over Gardner-Webb in the first round. There's the South right there. Okay, so Ole Miss and Oklahoma. The battle of who gets to lose to Virginia next. That's pretty much what it is. Honestly, this game is actually really close. It's one of those, if you're playing one of those bracket tournaments where you get an extra point for upsets, you take Oklahoma because you want to just go with whatever because it's that close. Both teams are kind of middle of the road type of teams. Both teams were really expected to win much. They had great seasons, or good seasons, not great seasons. Ole Miss hasn't been to a tournament since 2015, so they have kind of something to play for a little bit. They have an awesome point guard in Tyree. Is averaged 18 points a game. He's almost a 40% 3-point shooter, so they got that type of thing. It's really dependent on it though, and they a really good foul shooting team in Ole Miss, so that's good for them as well. But then you have Oklahoma without Buddy Hield. They were 7-11 in Big 12. But it's 7-11 in the Big 12 and were upset in the first round of the conference tournament. But they beat Wofford, Florida, and Creighton. Oklahoma doesn't really show much, and I'm quite shocked that they're even in the tournament, to be honest. But like I said, I'm also shocked that Ole Miss is in the tournament. So 8 versus 9, kind of rough. I'm going to take 8 on this. You could take the 9 if you just wanted to try to go for those extra bonus points. But I think Ole Miss takes Oklahoma just because Oklahoma didn't have that great of a showing this year. Guys agree?
I'm going to have to go with you on that one. They've had some really nice wins, like you mentioned, Wofford, Florida. They even beat Kansas one time. But on the other games, they've been pretty rough. They've struggled, like you said, late in the season. And Ole Miss, I would just say they're the less ugliest team right there. So I'm going to go with them.
Good point. Josh?
I'm just gonna go opposite of you guys, just because. I mean, yeah, it was an ugly finish. Oklahoma only had 19 wins on the season, but they split with Kansas. I mean, there's a few upsets they did have, but it's just gonna be close. But I think they just squeak it out.
All right. Well, I'm going to Ole Miss. If you want Oklahoma for the points, Josh agrees. Go with there. Moving on to the 5 versus 12 that had everyone talking yesterday when the spreads came out, because the 12 was favored by 1.5 when they came out yesterday. That's no longer true. It's gone the other way. But Oregon was favored by 1.5. Yes, the 12. That's because Oregon was so hot to end the season. They finished the Pac-12 tournament beating the number 1, number 2, and number 3 seed all in a row. And they didn't just beat them. They dominated all 3 of those games against a weak Pac-12, though. Against a Wisconsin team who's kind of fallen downhill a little bit towards the end. They got Ethan Happ. He's been the spotlight of their team, that's for sure. Averaging 17.5 and 10. He's averaging a double-double a game. He could put the Badgers on his back, but that's pretty much all they got there. Is the one guy, they've been kind of up and down all season. They know how to slow opponents down, which is great. They've really adjusted their tempo all year. They slowed down some of the best teams, some of the fastest teams in the nation. And Oregon plays both ways, so they're not like a run and gun type of team that they can slow down, because they can also set up their offense and do well there, because they have a great point guard in Peyton Pritchard, who was the MVP of the Pac-12 tournament. He had like 22 assists and only 2 turnovers the entire Pac-12 tournament. Put that in your pocket. I think it's a reason that Oregon was favored. They're now +2, but I think Oregon wins this game. I think they move on one more day. I think that's the end of it. But I think Oregon beats Wisconsin, and this is the 12 versus 5 I'm looking for. And I'm not just saying that because I'm wearing an Oregon shirt. Go back to live view. There it is. And you guys agree, or do you guys think Wisconsin pulls it off? What do you guys think?
I'm going to go with Wisconsin just for the fact that I think it took a lot out of Oregon to win that pack, for them to go on that run against the Pac-12.
But they weren't close games. They crushed. Like their backups were coming in the championship game with 5 minutes left. Their backups were coming in, Anthony.
They're enticing, but I think I like another 12 seed a little better than this one, and I like to just stick with one, just because it seems like it always happens every year, and I'm just gonna be the opposite of you, Edward.
All right, Josh, you're the deciding factor in this. Is it going to be Wisconsin or Oregon?
Well, I'm just gonna say this: when Oregon's number 4 in a Pac-12 and Wisconsin's number 4 in Big Ten, and Wisconsin does not look so good at the very end, and Oregon's crushing it at the end, you got to go with the hype. And you got to keep going with the momentum.
Oh.
On the West Coast, too. Playing in San Jose.
That's brother collusion.
Playing in San Jose on the West Coast. Playing in San Jose.
They're also playing in an area they're very familiar with.
It's true. 2
schools they play in the Pac-12 is not too far from that distance.
That's true.
Collusion.
Very true. Oregon it is. We're moving Oregon on. We're moving on. One of the best defensive teams in the nation, and a lot of people's underdogs that think are going to win. I've heard more people thinking that UC Irvine was going to take down Kansas State, of all the research I've done, than you could imagine. That's right, the Anteaters of UC Irvine. But Kansas State, one of the best defensive teams in the nation. Like they shut you down. They've won a lot of their games just from shutting down great players, great teams, and the biggest question is, can they do that all tournament long, playing at a much higher rate of playing games 2 in 2 days than 2 every week, which a reason why they were out of their tournament so quickly. So they're not, they lost to Tulsa this year as well. They haven't been great up and down, like I said, just hinging on the defense. I know that they have a player, I think, who's questionable to play, who's one of their best defenders as well. I think it's Wade. So, but I said 3 senior starters, so a very experienced team in Kansas State. But they're going up against this who, by the way, I don't know a lot about, UC Irvine. I wagered on them a few times, but apparently they're really good. So they make their case for what I heard. They may be the best team in California. The Anteaters, that's right, the Anteaters, ranks 58th in adjusted defensive efficiency while holding opponents to 40% on 2-point baskets. That is crazy. That is the best mark in the nation. That's right. Number 1, holding teams less than 40% for 2-point shots. That's crazy. So this is a team that could easily, when defense from Kansas State meets a team like this, I'm saying upset. I'm going with the flow. I'm saying UC Irvine upsets Kansas State. And Kansas State just doesn't have enough offense and relies on their defense. But also UC Irvine has a good defense but better offense. I think UC Irvine, also on the West Coast in San Jose, beats Kansas State. Gentlemen.
I'm going to go with Kansas State here just because I want to see what Josh is going to say. I'm putting the pressure on that guy right there. That's the reason why I'm going with the Wildcats.
This is one of the biggest, most hyped upsets there are out right now. This is one.
You know what that means? I'm just going to say it. You know what that means? When it's the most hyped matchup, it's going to be a blowout. Watch.
Yeah, by UC Irvine.
Oh, my goodness.
I actually, there's a saying the coach had with his players. He took all those players from Kent State aside right after that game. He said, "You understand what you did, but now you got to be better at what you have." And I think it was a huge awakening for them, and they're going to come out and really show what the Wildcat basketball team's all about, and they're going to come out and win. But it's going to be closer than what we think. There's going to be a hype, but it's going to be close. But Kansas State pulls it out.
Okay, what Josh is saying there, I think we're all saying is, take the points with Irvine, but Kansas State moves on. Okay, the team that UC Irvine beat this year, St. Mary's, by the way, and who also beat Gonzaga, St. Mary's, the number 1 team in the country, against the defending champion Villanova Wildcats. Listen. The fact that there's only 2 teams, by the way, in the NCAA tournament from California, one of them being Irvine, is the reason why I said they're the best team in California, because there's only 2 of them, and they beat St. Mary's head-to-head. Here comes St. Mary's that they just beat huge high, which is, by the way, St. Mary's versus Gonzaga. That's their Super Bowl. Congratulations, you beat Gonzaga. That was your Super Bowl. Non-congratulations, what you get in return is to play the defending national champions. Listen, I like St. Mary's. They're in a weak conference. Yes, they beat the Zags. They held them to 47 points, which is crazy. Crazy. That's not going to happen against a defending champion Villanova team. I know they sucked down the stretch. They lost 5 of its last 8 regular season games. They were all on the road. They became the first team to win 3 consecutive Big East tournament titles. That's right, the first team ever. Here they are again, right where we thought they were at the beginning of the year. St. Mary's not supposed to be here. They already had their Super Bowl. They're done. They won. Villanova takes it easily.
I'm going to go with that. Yeah, you can't bet against Jay Wright's teams in the NCAA tournament the last couple of years. He knows how to coach these guys. He's a passionate coach. They got some really good guards on that team. So I'm going to go Villanova, and I think they're going to make some noise this year, even though they're, in their standards, having a down year. It's hard to bet against those guys.
All right, Villanova it is. Josh?
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
Oh.
Villanova it is.
All right. So moving on, we got another intriguing matchup, 3 versus 14, and Purdue versus Old Dominion. This Purdue team is a very good team that seems to just disappoint when they should not disappoint, but also beat the teams that they shouldn't beat as well. So that's kind of been the thought of Purdue most of the year. A lot of people like this Old Dominion team. I watched their tournament run. I had some money on it, of course, and they just another team again that plays good defense, and that's all they kind of do is they just play really stout defense. They're 48th in the nation. They have their best player 16.9% and 7 rebounds a game. They have another 16-player game as also, and that's their offense. After that, they don't have much. So they got Sith and they got Caver, and that's all they do is score. Everyone else is kind of a type of role-playing type of team. Now, they won the Conference USA tournament, but it wasn't enough really in the main season. It kind of struggled a little bit. They just won the tournament, got hot at the right time, going up against a Purdue team that is a 3 ranked for a reason. They should be higher. They've lost a lot of games close that they should have won, and they won 17 of the final 20 that they played, and they won a share of the Big Ten regular season title, but they got bounced to the quarterfinals, of course. But this is a team that has a star in Carson Edwards. Now, you're going to hear a lot about Carson Edwards. He could very well be the Stephon Curry of this tournament. He averages 23 points a game, 3 rebounds and 3 assists. But he's 12th nationally in scoring. He's a volume shooter. When he gets hot, he gets hot. And I'm talking, I saw a few games where Edwards this year was shooting the ball from anywhere on the court and draining it, just like Curry did. He could easily be the Curry of this tournament. I like him, and I like Purdue in this matchup.
You know what, Edward? You had me at Steph Curry. No, it's funny. It's like, as we're going through these teams right now, you see a lot of times these teams have a big win, and it's been against Purdue. And obviously, if you're having a big win against Purdue, it means they're really good. So just for that fact, Edwards has been phenomenal. I think he's going to have a phenomenal tournament. Purdue, I think easily in this one.
Yeah, me too.
And just to go against the grind, I'm going Old Don because of what you said in the beginning. They lose matches that they were supposed to win, and they did that a few times during that season. And I think it possibly happens here.
All right. Well, we got Purdue at the 2 versus 1, but look for that Old Dominion upset, as Josh would say, or as we would say, take the points. Moving on to Cincinnati and Iowa. I think this is a no-brainer. I don't want to spend too much time on Iowa. I love Cincinnati this year. I have all year. 9th consecutive season Cincinnati has been in quietly. This team this year is great. They beat Houston in the championship game, of course, in the tournament. I've liked them all year. Jared Cumberland's a beast. They got, he can make threes like crazy. And you got Keith Williams, and you got other players as well. Opponents shoot 35.6% from three-point range against them. That's the one kind of the major downfall, which I was surprised that Houston could have pulled off in that championship game because they're a great three-point shooting team. But defensively, also stacked, and they have not a lot of offensive firepower, but enough. But against a Iowa team that I don't even know, to be honest, why they're there. I think they got killed by Michigan in the Big Ten quarterfinals, of course. But I mean, it's Michigan. But they got Tyler Cook. He's decent. They average 78 points a game, so I'll give them that. That's in the higher percentile of college basketball. But they also give up a lot of points. So I think Cincinnati takes it easily in this one. Whatever the spread is, I'm taking Cincinnati in the points.
Yeah, no need to spend too much time on it. Cincinnati, the Bearcat. There's another team that just, for whatever reason, every year they get in the tournament. They're really strong. They usually have a strong team. So I'm going to go with history and the Bearcats.
All right, Josh.
Just put the sticker out. Just throw it on there. I mean, it's just you just shoe in right there.
All right.
That's it.
Well, this next one too won't be that hard either. We have the Tennessee Volunteers versus Toothpaste. The Volunteers, I think another team that could easily be a number 1 ranking. They were number 1 most of the year. They have a phenomenal team. I know they lost that game to their old coach in Bruce Pearl and Auburn. More on them later. But this is a really, really good team. A really good, all-around good team. And a deep team. They have, they're good at pretty much everything. They got some seniors on the team. They got Schofield, who's been great this year. They got Bone has been great. They got plenty of shooters, plenty of defense, plenty all-around teams. SEC Player of the Year, Grant Williams. Let's not forget about him, 20 points a game. Overall, I think this team is just too good, and I love Colgate. Apparently, Barack Obama went there. Awesome. But they're really young. They have 3 underclassmen in a team that's not in a top conference. I think this is going to be one of the biggest blowouts of the tournament, and I think Tennessee wins by 20, at least.
Yeah, this Tennessee team is stacked, man. Like you said, Grant Williams is phenomenal. He's probably gonna he has a second SEC Player of the Year. for a while in the middle of the season, Tennessee was ranked #1 in the nation. So this is a really good team. Volunteers, and then you gotta love what they do pregame. I just love how they get into their little dunk scene. Have you seen that on Twitter yet?
Yeah.
And it's like all synchronized, like a dive. Everybody jumps up in the air and they dunk it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
it's something that I'm super jealous of because I'll never be able to dunk. So that's why I'm super envious of that. So Tennessee's just really good. That's another good man. You know, Michigan State's really good as far as the #2 seed. Tennessee's same boat. This is a really deep season for March Madness, and Tennessee's another of those teams.
Like I said, we could literally have 8 #1s. Well,
oh yeah.
Besides Duke, everyone else, the other 7 teams could all be #1s. They're kind of in that second tier, and Tennessee is definitely one of them. Josh, I know you agree. You're not going Colgate.
Do it, Josh. Do it, Josh.
They got good toothpaste.
Wow.
But that's about it.
All right, let's finish this bracket up in the South so we can move on here. Virginia, Ole Miss. Virginia, of course, we talked high on them. They're not going to let it happen again against Gardner-Webb. Ole Miss, don't know why Ole Miss and Oklahoma are there. Virginia easily over Ole Miss. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
All right, that's 2.
Yep.
Oregon, Kansas State, very interesting game here. Again, a Kansas State defense that's very defensively. I got to move it up a little bit. Apparently, it's not showing the there's Virginia. Okay, so Oregon, Kansas State. I'm going to take Oregon in this one because I just think the Oregon offense and their defense as well, and Kenny Wooten, who can block shots. He's top 10 in block shots of the year when he's healthy. He's a top 5. They got the defense. They got Peyton Pritchard. You know, against that defense of Kansas State. I know Kansas State's had their ups and downs. I know they beat Kansas, but everyone's beat Kansas, it seems like, this year. I think Oregon pulls this off. I'm going to go with Oregon in this one. And I'm not being a homer.
I'm switching teams. You sold me, Edward. I'm going Oregon.
This too, Josh. You agree? Do you think Kansas State?
I'm going to go Kansas State.
All right, we're going Oregon, though.
Well, you lose.
Yeah.
I already lost. So it didn't matter.
Yeah, he's just saying. He's saying take the points in Kansas.
Jump on board, Josh. Just jump on board, man.
All right, guys. A really good matchup coming up next. The Villanova-Purdue matchup. I love this matchup, but again, I think Edwards lights it up. I think the champs are out here. I think Purdue pulls it off. Like I said, Edwards goes all the way with Edwards. Not all the way to the championship, but just keeps on pulling it off. Has another 30-point game. Beats the champs, Villanova, in a classic. Purdue.
Yeah, this is just a rough matchup. If Villanova was playing against, say, like Houston or maybe like Texas Tech on the other side of the #3, I think they take it. But Purdue, guard play, really good team. It's sad to tell them, goodbye to Villanova, but yeah, I'll go Purdue on this one.
Sayonara. Josh?
Moving on up.
Here's another great matchup, guys. Cincinnati versus Tennessee. Wow. Whew. This is going to be a good one. However, I just think Tennessee's too deep, too good. Cincinnati had a phenomenal shooting effort against Houston in that final the other day, and I just think that ultimately Tennessee is just too much for them to handle. Wins by 10, Tennessee.
Move it away.
Yep. Josh, you're outnumbered, so is Tennessee. Virginia, here's Virginia, Oregon. Okay, here's where it ends. I got Virginia beating Oregon and handily, by a lot, just because Oregon doesn't have the interior to team up with Guy and those type of players in there, and I think they lose on foul shooting strictly, which Oregon's not that great of a foul shooting team. Virginia is. I think fouls become a factor, and they end up shooting like 20 of them and making 18 and end up dominating Oregon. I got Virginia.
I'm going to go Oregon just to see what Josh has to say.
Jesus.
The other Tony Bennett says anything goes, but this one says I'm just going to keep going, and Virginia wins.
All right, thank you.
He doesn't say that.
Let's not have Oregon in our Elite 8 on this podcast today. That would not be good.
It's a song.
All right. Moving on. A phenomenal matchup. Can Edwards do enough to keep Purdue in a game against Tennessee? No. Tennessee moves on. I have Tennessee beating Purdue in a stunner. Not a stunner, but a really close game. But ultimately, it's going to be Edwards making shots down the stretch, but not enough to keep them in the game. I like Tennessee in this one over Purdue by 6.
Go Orange.
There's two.
Let's go the trifecta. Yeah, Williams is going to keep having a phenomenal tournament. He's going to have that. He's going to keep tearing it up.
All right, gentlemen, this is where I have my first big upset of the Elite Eight. I am all in on the orange. I think Tennessee beats Virginia. Virginia has been this number 1 seed for a few years. They haven't quite accomplished anything with it. I think another year, that deep Tennessee team, I think they just have enough shooting-wise against the defense of Virginia to pull it off in an overtime winner.
I'm with you. Are you reading my mind right now, Edward?
Maybe.
Because, I'm all in. Tennessee, they're just so talented, and I got to just keep rolling with them. I'm going to go with them to Final Four.
Josh?
I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah.
It's obvious. It's Oregon, huh?
Yeah.
It's obvious. It's
I was
Oregon.
thinking Belmont, but yeah, all right.
All right, guys. We got to move a little bit quicker than we did in those 2 rounds, so I'll try my best. But I have a lot to. I made a ton of notes, so I'm trying to keep it all in there. So let's get Gonzaga on the screen here as we go move to the West. Trying to line it up perfectly. All right, here we go. We're moving to the West, the Western region of the tournament. See who it's going to be. I'm going to try to go a little bit faster, but I wrote down notes for all these teams. I think Gonzaga's no-brainer beat Fairleigh Dixon, Prairie View. I'm not going to give you a good enough on Fairleigh Dixon, Prairie View, except I think Fairleigh Dixon wins. I'm going to tell you that right now. I think they're a 2.5-point favorite at this point. They play tomorrow night. I think Fairleigh Dixon wins because they're fairly good enough. They're Fairleigh Dixon to beat Prairie View. Which, by the way, should be the Prairie Dogs, but they're not. It drives me crazy. And Gonzaga, I mean, let's be real. Gonzaga beat Duke early in the year when they had everyone healthy. That's before those freshmen got experience, though. Now their speed is up. They're used to the speed of the game of college basketball when they weren't when they played Gonzaga early. And now they're better than they were then. So, yes, that's a good win for them, but they also lost to St. Mary's in their championship game and only scored 47 points. But I do think they beat handily Fairleigh Dixon or Prairie View. Gentlemen.
Agreed.
Don't even ask me something like that ever
All
again.
right. Syracuse versus Baylor. Some reason Syracuse just constantly makes it into these tournaments. They shouldn't be. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they deserve to be in. However, somehow when they get in here, they cause fits. They somehow always make it deep. Same with Baylor. Baylor has seemed to always be in every year as well, somehow with their neon and green. They were in the Big 12, of course. They had a 6-game winning streak in the Big 12, which they beat Iowa State, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma, all 3 teams in the tournament. So they have the ability to do it. However, their leading scorer is only at 14.6 points a game, but he shoots 36.5 from deep. They're going to probably lean on him a little bit too much, and they don't have a lot of talent, but they have depth of a bunch of average players. But I think Syracuse, for some reason, in the tournament seems to play up, and I like Syracuse over Baylor. Oh, we can't hear you. Anthony, did we lose you?
Can't hear you, Anthony.
Anthony's on mute.
Did you mute me already?
Now we
Did
can
you
hear
mute me
him.
already?
Okay. What were you saying
that
about
bad?
Syracuse? Yeah.
Well, like I was saying before, you guys cut me off rudely. And I have a theme going on right now. I'm going with the teams that really have a strong head coaching, and just like Boeheim's team, he's done all the time. Has another strong squad. They're a little underrated. I like the orange on this one.
All right, Josh, you have anything to say, or you agree?
It's Boeheim, and yes,
Yeah.
with you.
All right, good. Moving on to what I think.
I'm French, okay? It's my French.
Excuse my French. I'm moving on to the next. I knew what you were saying. I'm moving on to what I think is one of the greatest matchups of the first round, maybe even the best. We're talking about 2 phenomenal guards, 2 of the best guards in the nation. I'm talking about Marcus Howard from Marquette versus the man himself, who I think is going to also be a Stephon Curry type in Morant from Murray State. I think 2 guards are phenomenal. They both average, I think Morant averages 24.6, and I think, let's see, Evan or Howard averages 25. There you go. So, Guard versus guard. I wish they weren't both playing each other because I'd like to see both these guards go deep. I watched Marquette a lot this year, not so much Murray State, but I have seen some of the Morant highlights, and he is a stud. I like Murray State in this. I think it's going to be guard versus guard. I think this is my 12 versus 5. Another one. So I have 2 12 versus 5s this year. This is my other one. I like Morant. I think he just single-handedly has a Curry-type moment in this game and takes them over victory over Marquette.
Yeah, this is my 5-12 upset right here. I'm going to go with Murray State. Morant is just too dang good. His highlights, you see it all the time on ESPN. He's dunking on somebody. He's dropping from downtown. The guy is just phenomenal. And that's the kind of guy that can lead.
And so is Marcus Howard, though. Let's not forget.
No. Yeah,
Big East Player of the Year, 40% from 3. He shot 284 of them. That's insane.
I gotta find an upset. There's always a 5-12 upset, and this is the one I'm hitching my trailer to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I just think that Morant is a star and possibly a lottery pick coming out of Murray State, which is crazy. Another Stephon Curry moment could be here, and I think it is. Josh, you've already lost the vote, but do you think Marquette has a chance, or you go with Murray State too?
Just go with Murray State.
All right.
Attaboy.
Florida State Seminoles. A deep run, of course, in the tournament in the ACC. Pretty decent team, pretty solid, pretty well-rounded type of team. They don't have a lot of solid players. They're just very a lot of stars. They're just kind of solid all the way around. One of those teams that can do everything. They got a good perimeter shooter and Terrence Mann, of course. They got, I don't even know how to say his name, Midanu Cabergilele. Only one of the only 2 players they have in double figures. Again, very well-rounded team. Not a lot of superstars going up against this Vermont team that barely missed last year's tournament, and they lost in the final, and they should have won, but they lost in the final to University of Maryland, Baltimore County, the team that beat Virginia. So they were almost in it last year. Here's their chance, Vermont. You get Florida State, who's a really good team, overall good team, but no superstars. So we'll see what happens here. They do have Anthony Lamb, who's solid, 21 points a game. Also great in rebounding as well. He scored 28 in the conference championship. He's averaging 23 points per game in losses to Kansas, Louisville, and Linscomb. So he does come to play as well. So we'll see what happens here. I still like Florida State, just the overall rounded team, knocking off Vermont or not allowing Vermont to stay in it and kind of defensively causing him to struggle and forcing the other players to make plays. In Lamb, I think Florida State takes it.
I'm gonna go Vermont. I think with the way Lamb's been playing lately, defensively they're pretty sound, and I think this is gonna be my upset bracket side right here. So I like Vermont.
I can
in this
tell.
one.
Josh?
No.
Okay, take it easy.
That Seminole
Take it easy.
No. It's just not going to happen. Vermont, if you watched the championship game, every call was going Vermont's way. Florida State is a powerhouse team. They're going to destroy Vermont. It's just going to happen.
Destroy, okay.
Destroy. Okay, take it easy, Josh, okay?
Take it easy.
That's your last muscle milk, okay?
All right. We got to move on, guys. We got to go a little quicker here. So, next we got, the Arizona State versus St. John matchup, which both of those teams should be in the NIT, versus Buffalo. There's kind of a thing here where I believe the Buffalo coach is the ex-assistant for the Arizona head coach. So it's kind of a fun thing there if Arizona were to pull it off, which they should over St. John's, but you never know. I don't want to talk about Arizona State or St. John's that much. I do want to talk about Buffalo, though, because this Buffalo team, they got an at-large bid. They're a really solid team. They did beat Syracuse and West Virginia. They had a 12-game winning streak, and they, of course, the MAC or the MAC tournament title. Fast-paced offense. They're fun to watch. If you guys haven't seen Buffalo play this year, they are fast. They get up and down the court crazy quick. They got senior guard and CJ Masenberg, who's been great, 18 points a game. He shoots almost 40% from long range, and he has a great center in Nick Perkins, who's 6'8", 14 points a game, and a 6'7" wing in Jeremy Harris, another 14 points a game, who averaged 20 points in his last 5. This is a team that's loaded, they're experienced, and they're quick. Love Buffalo against any one of those teams. no, I think they crush Arizona State or St. John's.
I gotta agree with you 100%. That Buffalo team. The reason why I know Buffalo is when you're making your wagers. They've been on your wagers a lot this year.
They have,
They've
yes.
covered the spread a lot.
Yeah.
This team is really good, and that's coming straight out of Edwards.
Love this
pocket
team.
right
Love
there.
this Buffalo team, guys. Love it. Love
Go
this team.
Bulls.
Go Bulls. That's right. Texas Tech, another team I like a lot. They were really surprised this year. They weren't supposed to be that great, but they're a really good defense. Number 2 in the nation in defensive efficiency. That's right. The Red Raiders from Texas Tech. Everyone thinks the Red Raiders can score, and not and also give up points. Not in basketball this year, people. Texas Tech is one of the best defenses, and they're here to stay. They go up against a Northern Kentucky team. That's right. The Norse. Woo! The Norse and Northern Kentucky, of course. Not a lot to say here. They won their tournament. They are in the top.
That's about it.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. They no quadrant 1 wins. Lost both their quadrant wins. They have a really young, inexperienced backcourt. Yeah, I think just the defense from Texas Tech is enough here. They move on.
Without a doubt.
Okay, moving on there. We both agree with that. This is a very intriguing matchup in Nevada and Florida. I know Justin Watson's interested in this matchup. Nevada versus Florida. I'm trying to be quick, guys. I know we're going late, but this is a lot of teams here. 68 of them we gotta cover, and I promised everybody. So here we go. Nevada, really faltered down the stretch. Had some issues. Had Caroline going off and yelling at people in the locker room after a loss. There could be one of the best teams in the country, but then they could also implode on themselves and not look good. They should have won their tournament. They didn't. Utah State ended up beating them. They had to take the share of the Mountain West. Kudos to the Mountain West for getting 2 teams in. I like this Nevada team against this Florida team, but that's as far as I have them going. They really hurt themselves towards the end. They would have gotten a better seed, and they would have gotten a better situation if they would have won the tournament. Instead, the result, they get to play Florida. Great. Then you get to lose to Michigan. More on that later.
I'm gonna go with the Wolfpack. I think, like you said, if they win that the Mountain West, I think they're probably maybe a 5 or 6.
It hurt them. Down the stretch hurt their seeding. Yep.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah, but I still like them. They're super talented. This was a top 15, top 10 team all season pretty much until that end. So I still like them, and I'm gonna roll with the Wolfpack.
No, Josh, you agree?
I mean, you got the Twins, so it's kind of hard to go against that.
Okay.
I have a name.
Josh is like the guy that goes, okay, what animal would beat the other animal in a fight? I'll take him. Michigan, Montana. I'm not going to talk about. We talked about Texas Tech having one of the best defenses. Well, guess who has the best defense in the league? That would be Michigan. That's right. The best defense in college football is Michigan. Solid team.
Basketball.
Did I say football?
You did.
Oh shoot. Sorry, this isn't the big house. This is basketball. NCAA, the nation's top defense according to KenPom.com, ranking 7th in efficiency and field goal percentage and 3rd fewest points a game. But they're not all defense, guys. They can also have offensive firepower as well. They got a trio of shooters from the outside. They got Tesk. They got I can't even say this guy's name, but I've watched them all year. I just call him Ignas. I believe his last name is Bradaskis. Regardless, he's a stud.
That's it.
Yeah, 41% from 3-point range. And, of course, they got Livers as well. And let's not forget about Poole. Solid team. They're deep. They could easily be a 1 seed if they didn't lose to Michigan State, who should be a 1 seed. And, okay, I guess I got to do it. Montana. A lot of adversity this year. They went 10-2 in the conference. They won the Big Sky regular season. Congratulations to them. They got a great senior in Ahmad Rory, 15 points a game, and congratulations to them. You're going to get annihilated by Michigan.
I'm surprised they even have a basketball team.
Well, you got to have something there.
I thought they were just all football all the time.
Yeah, you guys agree with the Michigan over Montana, right?
Yes, move it all.
I agree with.
All right, here's where it gets fun, guys. Gonzaga, Syracuse. I'm going Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Zags.
Murray State, Florida State. Morant, baby. Versus the well-rounded Florida State Seminoles.
Here, you know what, Edward, you're going to go last. Let me get Murray State. I think Josh has Florida State. Who you got in this one?
Murray State. I got Morant.
Ooh.
Boom. Buffalo, Texas Tech, defense versus offense. I love this Buffalo team. In an upset, I have Buffalo beating Texas Tech.
Give me Buffalo.
At Red Raiders.
Well, Buffalo it is. Moving on. Nevada versus Michigan by Twins. Michigan moving on in that one as well. This
Well,
is
Move them on.
this is the bracket of upsets, huh? We got Gonzaga, Murray State, Buffalo, and Michigan. I think this is when the upsets go away, though. I think Gonzaga edges out Morant. I think Morant has a phenomenal game, but that Gonzaga defense is not going to let what St. Mary's did to them in the WCC conference game. Gonzaga beats Murray State in a thriller.
Give me that one.
Okay. Buffalo, Michigan could be an upset. Like I said, I love that Buffalo team. I really do. But Michigan just too much, too experienced, too solid, too polished. It's a win for me in Michigan over Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Wolverine.
Cool. Gonzaga, Michigan, guys. I got Michigan. I think Michigan's a better, well-rounded team, better defensively. I know Gonzaga has one of the better offenses, one of the best efficient offenses in the country. But guess what? They also play in the WCC. Michigan plays in the Big Ten. I like Michigan going to the Final Four.
Give me the Zags.
Ooh, Josh is the tiebreaker here. For what reason do you have the Zags there? I want to know.
Huh?
You know, I think every year they're always overlooked, and I think finally they kind of get it together. Like you said, they're always just sound. They dominate the West Coast Conference. They're just like, I think this is their year.
Yeah,
they
but
finally make some noise.
congratulations, you dominate the West Coast Conference.
Hey, there's
Can I say
something to be said. There's something to be said when you're supposed to dominate and you still dominate. You got to give them.
All right, well, Josh is the tiebreaker. I just want to know why. Okay.
Here it is. Okay.
Here it is.
Michigan is going to have the best defense and is going to show why the Gales of St. Mary's is not even going to be close to the defense that they're going to put on Gonzaga.
Yeah, the Gales are pretty much the poor man's Virginia, and
That's it.
Michigan has a better defense than them, so I'm going Michigan for that reason. So is Josh. It's Michigan against Duke in the Final Four.
Boo.
I like this, guys. This is fun. This is fun. Okay, here we go. Moving on, guys. We'll go to live view real quick. So just so you know, in the chat, if you look in the little chat, we have our bracket challenge. If you go to it, I announced surprisingly to everybody in the beginning of this show that I was going to give $50, my hard-earned cash, to the winner. So get in it, guys. You have until Thursday morning at 9 p.m. Pacific to sign up and get in. And, of course, I will be giving $50 cash to the winner on me, courtesy of me, if you win, because I have a good feeling I'm going to win. My bracket's going to be similar to this. Of course, we're going over everything, filling it out, giving you round-by-round matchup. And, of course, on Twitter all week at Edward Rouse, I will also have my wager picks for the tournament as well, and live tweeting by segment. So I'm not going to do them all at once, guys, because that's not the way it works. It's going to be the 9 o'clock games, the 12 o'clock games, the 3 o'clock, and then the late night as well. Be doing them all like that. So it's all up to date and all up to the minute of all the spreads and the line movements and whatnot. So moving on, the final one, the Midwest. Like I said, I'm trying to go quicker. We're doing a lot quicker than we did the first two. So let's let's get to our live bracket here. There it is. And let's go up to the Midwest. Let's make sure you can see our boys from North Carolina. There they are. And we're going to go live from here. Boom. North Carolina versus number 16, Iona. North Carolina, of course, made their rounds. They did beat Duke twice, but lost to them, of course, when they did have Zion Williamson back in the championship game, or not, or the semifinals. Sorry, what was a very good game. And when these two teams play each other, man, is it fun! And I'm kind of rooting for a North Carolina Duke championship, to be honest. This team kind of got molded into a national title contender from the get-go between Roy Williams, of course. I know where Anthony's going with this. Roy Williams, super solid coach. But
You read my mind, baby. You read my mind.
They push pace. They have a great tempo, and also they handle size. They handle business on both ends. They're 7th in offensive efficiency and 10th in defensive efficiency. If that doesn't spell Final Four, I don't know what does. This team is solid. They don't have the big name that they used to have, like the Zion or the RJ Barrett, but man, do they have a solid group of starters, including senior-led team like Cam Johnson, and then they got the freshmen like Kobe White, and they got another senior in Luke May, and then they got, it's just over and over from head to heels. See what I did there? Tar Heels.
Oh, man.
They are well-rounded, and I think deserve of the number one. I don't know about Virginia, but I do think North Carolina is solid. My second favorite team in this tournament. I love them. Iona, listen, Iona. I own a car. I own some shoes. I don't know. Congratulations, you won the MAAC. You were the top seed. You had a great year. You got a great junior forward in Uggy, and congratulations. You're going to get destroyed by North Carolina handily. Over at halftime, North Carolina beats Iona.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So no number ones are going down this year according to us. Fantastic. Here we go.
That's a bold prediction.
I'm going to go ahead and say Josh agrees with the North Carolina.
Tar Heels, come on.
Okay. Utah State, the winner of the Mountain West, surprise winner of the Mountain West to a lot, versus the Washington, who, not the surprise winner of the Pac-12, got dominated. Washington struggled lately towards the end of the season. They were off to a great start, of course, in the weak Pac-12. Utah State has looked really good over the last month of the season. Like maybe Nevada wasn't the best team in the conference, and I don't think they are anymore. I like this Utah State team. They closed out the regular season by winning 17 of the last 18 games and a tournament championship. They got Sam Miller averaging over 20 a game. He led the conference in scoring. And this team, and the Mountain West is a really good conference. One may say the Mountain West may be better than the Pac-12 was. That's crazy. Don't like Washington. Love Utah State. Washington struggled down the end of the season. They got destroyed by an Oregon team that was on a mission. They don't seem to have any fight in them. Just watching them play the last month of the season, Washington was so good in the beginning, and then just not there. They got some leadership and some seniors. They're an older team. They got the defensive player of the year in the Pac-12. That's not saying much. I think Utah State takes this game.
Oh yeah, if Utah State was in that Virginia bracket, it'd be hard pressed for me to call an upset in that second round. I really like this Utah State team, red hot to end the season. Being a Fresno State fan, I watched a lot of those games, and this is a really good squad that a lot of people aren't taking notice, and I think they're going to win this one pretty good.
Josh?
Yeah, Aggies are going to take it. Are going to definitely take this. They have with Crew Ainge and Quinn Taylor, who've been doing great work for them. It's just, I think they just dominate. I mean, especially with Taylor being a 6'8", 240 forward, it's going to be hard to move him around, move him out of the way to block out. It's the guy's a beast, and I think he's going to use that weight, and it's going to really push those Huskies out, and we really will see them advance.
And also a great showing for the Mountain West to have both teams win their first round matchups. I think that's solid for the conference in general, which is a rising conference in basketball. The conference is getting really, really good. I love it. Moving on to, this bracket's rough. Okay. Auburn versus New Mexico State, and only for the underdogs. I'm not saying rough. I'm saying this is kind of a no-brainer type bracket here. Listen, Auburn is solid. Bruce Pearl is a solid coach. They beat Tennessee on three-point shooting. Auburn's one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. If they get their threes going, they can go as far as their threes going. That's how it goes. But if their three isn't falling, they're terrible. So they got to get their three going. They got it going against Tennessee. It was over by halftime. It's live and die by the three with Auburn. They did enter on an 8-game winning streak, including a 4-game run, of course, in the NCAA tournament title. The SEC wasn't an easy title to win either, but their three was going crazy, and they got a senior guard in Bryce Brown who shoots over 40% threes. Threes. If you like threes, Auburn's the team you want to watch. They go up against the no-brainer WAC winner because the WAC is crazy. You wouldn't even recognize half the colleges in it nowadays. In New Mexico State, a 12 seed. This is a 12 seed. Yes, they entered the NCAA tournament on the tear. They won the last 19 games. And they also beat Grand Canyon and Utah Valley, which is good for them.
Tough squads right there.
Yeah, we're talking about a WAC team coming against a hot SEC champion in Auburn who's draining threes like crazy. No chance this is a 12 versus a 5. Auburn easily.
Yeah, the New Mexico State Aggies, you could call them maybe they're a little too whack.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Did you think of that yourself?
I just thought of that right now.
Yeah.
No, Auburn, they're really good right now. That, like I said, since the beginning of the show, head coaching is big, and Bruce Pearl is getting those guys firing all cylinders.
Josh?
It's whack. Like, literally, there's no other team that you'll ever recognize in there except for New Mexico State, and that's hardly to recognize. They're going to drain threes like Steph Curry does. So, I mean, that's just what it is.
We're going with Auburn. Moving on to the most, I can't believe I'm going to say this, the most overrated team of the season, Kansas Jayhawks, the number 4 seed. I don't think they deserve that 4 seed. They have not been good this year. They lost Azubuike, of course, early in January with a wrist injury, and then they lost their second leading scorer, Vic, as well, for a while. Not a good year for the Jayhawks overall, and still getting that 4th seed, but they played the nation's toughest schedule, so that's something going for them. And then they got kind of the weak Midwest, besides North Carolina, so that can help them out a little bit. Of course, they're going up against Northeastern. Is there a North Southern and a North too? I don't know.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
A North.
Yeah,
Northeastern's ranked 78th net, of course, according to KenPom.com. They're dancing for just the second time since 1991 after winning the Colonial Tourney. They're in the number 2 seed. They run a 4-guard lineup, so not very big, so Kansas has the upper hand there. I mean, they got a good junior guard in Roland who shoots 40% threes, and that's about all they got there. They have no front court at all. It's all going to be shot. They lost to all 4 quad 1 opponents already, all on the road, of course. They need to shoot lights out. I'm talking they need to make all the threes, everything from distance. They have no inside presence at all, where Kansas is just going to go inside on them all day long. Kansas, in a dominant win here, beats Northeastern.
Yeah, this has been a pretty average season for Kansas, like you mentioned, but I'll go Bill Self, head coach, over, North whatever. And that might be it, though, for me after this.
Yeah.
I will go Kansas if Anthony could tell me where Northeastern, what city that's in.
Oh, my. Bro, come on. You're setting me up for failure right now.
So I'm going to go Northeastern because of that.
That's your basis?
It didn't even matter.
Not only
Dude,
that.
so think about where Northeast is.
Northeastern is in Boston.
Yes.
And I'll also say that I see Northeastern being that upset that will take them down.
No. You love Boston
there you
so
go.
much.
Take Northeastern and the
Gosh.
points. Okay, we're moving on.
Jeez Louise. How many universities are there at Boston? That's what I want.
There's a lot. It's a huge.
There's 10 to 15 universities in Boston.
Yeah, it's huge.
How do you like them
Get back
apples?
to live view where we're talking about apples.
Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting. Yes, we're talking about Goodwill Hunting. I think they did not go to Northeastern though in Goodwill Hunting. I don't think that was it.
Harvard.
Ohio State versus Iowa State. The battle of don't stutter. Iowa State versus Ohio State. Number 6 versus number 11. Listen, Iowa State's a really solid team. The 5th place team in the Big 12. They're the lowest seeded team to win the conference tournament, of course, in the Big 12 ever. So they got the automatic bid, which means they're hot. I like that. They're number 21 net ranking, of course, in the country for the whole season. They got a lot of senior leadership in Shayak, who averages almost 20 a game, almost 40%. They're 9th in offensive efficiency in the nation, ranked 25th nationally in effective field goal percentage, 54.9%. Whew! So they don't only rely on threes; they can also shoot the jumper and get in the front court. That's a good combination to win tournaments. Ohio State, of course, on the other end. Oh, man. 8th place team out of the Big Ten. They're dancing for the first time since 2015. Listen, they're a football school. Congratulations, you guys made it into this conference. Or this tournament. You get Iowa State. They're, again, another team that's going to have to rely heavily on the 3 and don't think they're going to pull enough. I love Iowa State in this one easily.
Yeah, give me the Cyclones. They've been a really good team all year, and I think it's gonna be Iowa State.
Cyclones.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Houston, number 3 versus Georgia State. Houston, of course, losing to Cincinnati. This Houston team is a really good team. Cincinnati played a really great game, really fantastic game in that final. I know a lot of people are like, but Cincinnati is a lower seed, but they're going to end up playing in Ohio. I get that, but yeah, they have a bad matchup. But moving on to this Houston team. Now they lost. I believe last year they were in the round of 32, and they lost by 1 to Michigan, who Michigan ended up going all the way to the championship. Correct. So there you go. So, and they have everyone back this year. So this Houston team is really strong. Their guards are crazy good, great defense. They can score. They rank in the top 25 in offense and defensive efficiency. Boom, just like North Carolina. Something to say there. This team is good, really good. They had a stinker against Cincinnati, but could that be the one that they needed to kick them back in gear? I think so. They beat LSU. They beat Oregon this year away from home. I know they got thrashed by Cincinnati. They're a small team as well. No one over 6'7", so size could be an issue as well going forward, especially if they end up having to go against a team like, Iowa State that we just mentioned coming up in the next round. But Georgia State, listen, a great story. We saw a few years ago they made the tournament. They won a game, and the guy tore his ACL, and he's running around the sidelines with his knee tricycle going on. Congratulations for that, But, Georgia State's kind of a 14 seed is great. It's Ron Hunter who I'm talking about. They're dancing again. Of course, last year was what we're talking about when he had the ACC or the ACL tear, and he's running around his little knee cart and celebrating. A good team, a solid team. They're outside of the top 100 in offensive efficiency. That's not good. But they have 4 players that average double figures, so that's always smart. They don't play in a very good conference. The other best team in the conference is UT Arlington, so that tells you a lot. And, it's going to come down to shooting threes and staying in the game and just being close and hope opportunity happens against this Houston team. It doesn't. I like Houston.
Yeah, I'm going to say Houston just in this round, and you kind of led up to the next round for me because, like you said, they're not a very big team. But if there was any other 4-team seed, I might have called an upset here. But I think Houston takes this one.
Okay. Josh?
Just keep going. Just put it on that board, right?
All right. The Terriers, the mighty Wofford Terriers against Seton Hall. I like this Wofford team a lot. They would have been an at-large bid, of course, but they took care of business, winning the Southern Conference Tournament, which is what you got to do. 20-game winning streak. That's right. 20 games. The longest in the nation, of course, going into the tournament. Their offense is crazy good. 12th in adjusted offensive efficiency with the nation's 4th highest effective field goal percentage. That's crazy. And 2nd highest 3-point field goal percentage as well. Points with Wofford. That's what you're going to get. 3rd in the nation in 3-point percentage at 50% for sophomore Storm Murphy. That's right, Storm Murphy. 50% 3-point percentage. Wow. This team is all scoring and 3-4 against quad 1 teams. Solid. This Wofford team's no joke. Seton Hall, well, welcome to the tournament. You get Wofford team. The Pirates, of course, they have 2 seniors. Sorry, they lost 3 last year. They're an older team, a lot of juniors too. But they just don't have enough. They're not very formulated to be a great offensive team. And when you're playing a team like Wofford, that's going to be offense, and you can't keep up. And all you have is defense. That doesn't seem to be a recipe for success against a Wofford team. So I'm going to take Wofford.
You know what? They've been kind of the trendy pick since the tournament was announced yesterday. They have what it takes. They can shoot the 3-ball. Like you said, they're 2nd in the country. I like that. Good guard play. They're going to make some noise, and I think they show the nation who they are. So I'll go Wofford on this one.
Wofford's going to do it.
Josh has Wofford in the Final Four. We're going to follow out the Final Four of the Wofford. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, you might not be kidding. Look at him. He's smiling. Right? I can see him. He's smiling.
Oh, man. Kentucky, one of the most battle-tested teams in the nation. 15 quad one games. Whew. Only 5 at home, and they went 10-5. Whew. This Kentucky team is good. Not a lot of talk about them this year because of the Dukes and the North Carolinas and the other teams. Well, normally it's all about Kentucky. Again, the same thing with Kentucky every year, the lack of upperclassmen. They're all freshmen. They're all young. That's Kentucky every year. So it's a matter of if they're ready, how they can play, how they're going to do, how they're going to live up to it. Several NBA level talents in the rotation. Of course, it's Kentucky, but year after year, Calipari brings these freshmen in and for the tournament causes damage. Going up against Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian, the last school I'll talk about that I don't want to talk about ever again. Second in the Southland regular season. Congratulations. They're this first NCAA tournament bid, but then again they've only been in Division I for 2 years. So 1 for 2 isn't bad, Abilene Christian. Congratulations.
That's a good ratio right there.
It is good. So I'll give them that. That's my stat. I gave everyone a stat about every team, no matter what seed they were. So there you go. There's my stat for Abilene Christian. Kentucky, the freshmen, the underclassmen. Calipari does it again, and they dominate.
Move it along.
Okay. Now we're really moving along because it's going to get interesting when we get down there. North Carolina, Utah State. North Carolina, I think, is the second overall seed in this contest. Easily handles Utah State. Utah State's run is done after making the Mountain West look good. I have North Carolina. Let's get back to my live bracket here as we go forward. I have North Carolina over in Utah. You guys agree?
Yes, sir.
Auburn and Kansas. Woo! Is this going to be a fun one? Again, it's going to come down to Auburn's threes. If Auburn can make threes like they did against Tennessee, they beat Kansas easily. But Kansas has enough to stay in it. I'll go last. Who do you guys got?
Give me some Bruce Pearl. Let me get Auburn.
Josh?
Yeah, Bruce Pearl takes it.
All right. I'm going to say Auburn wins this game as well. I think Kansas is overrated this year. A number 4 is way too high. And I think Auburn wins. Iowa State and Houston. This is going to be a great game. Iowa State has a little bit of depth in the front court. Houston lacks it, but they can shoot the ball lights out. I like Iowa State. They had a great end of the season. I also like Houston. This one's kind of a coin toss for me. But I want to say Iowa State.
I like the Cyclones here, man. They are they're a talented team, and I like talent. I like head coaches that like talent in this tournament, and they got that there with all the ball players they have. So let me get the Cyclones in this one.
Well, there we go. Josh?
Cyclones it
is.
Hey, we're starting to agree more now. You notice that?
Well, it's less upsets and more big dogs. But here we go, guys. Here's what I want to ask you guys, and I'm going to go last this one. Warford versus Kentucky.
Wolf.
You're going with the point scoring, huh? You're going with the offense, and quick running up and down the court. Josh?
I'm going with experience in Calipari, Kentucky.
Oh.
I'm going with Kentucky as well.
Man.
Kentucky. He always does it every year. North Carolina, Auburn. I'm taking North Carolina.
Tar Heels because I saw a stat the other day that said each time that North Carolina has beat Duke twice during the regular season, doesn't matter what kind of Duke team, that they have won the whole thing.
There you go.
Whoa.
Iowa State, Kentucky. I have Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Well, since I didn't like Kentucky to begin with, I have to go Iowa State. I have to.
All right, guys. Who goes to the Final Four? North Carolina, Iowa State? I say North Carolina.
North Carolina.
The Tar Heels.
All right, guys. We're almost done. Thank you, guys, for everyone for tuning in. I know probably you guys will watch this later on. Just get our advice on everything. Every team. I did every team. A stat about them all. Here we are. Right now, about to give our Final Four on this bracket. Again, join the links. Join the league. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. I'm trying to get as many people, and whoever wins, $50 cash in your pocket on me just for joining. That's right. And I'm poor, so that means something. So here we go. Back to the live bracket real quick. We're going to talk about the Final Four. Duke versus Michigan and Tennessee versus North Carolina. This is exactly who I'm going to have in my Final Four. I'm telling everyone who's going up against me who wants to have $50 right now, this will probably be my Final Four because this is exactly who I had in my bracket when I went over it this morning after all my research. So what we just did, everything we just did, went to the same Final Four that I have going best 2 out of 3. Duke, Michigan, Tennessee, North Carolina. Now, this may change, but for now, this is where we are. We're going to go Tennessee, North Carolina first, guys. This one's tough for me.
I'm going Roy Williams. It boggles my mind that Duke and North Carolina has never played.
Yeah, Josh?
In the championship game, and I feel like that is just reckoning. I got to go Tar Heels.
I'm going Vols.
Ooh, like that def, like everything there. I'm going to agree with Anthony. I actually have North Carolina. I'm looking at my paper bracket that I filled out right now. My Final Four, North Carolina in the championship. But I like the Vols too. It's going to be a really good game. It's going to be a really good game. That game's going to be crazy good. And the colors are going to be off the hook between the orange and the baby blue running up and down the field. It's going to be insane.
Watch that game in 4K. That's all I got to say. Watch that baby in 4K.
All right, guys. Duke, Michigan. Michigan, of course, losing to Michigan State. It's a shame that they put Michigan State in the Duke because this should be Michigan State versus Duke in this Final Four. But it's going to be Michigan-Duke. I got Duke, guys. I got it happening for the first time ever. The 4th time in 1 year, Duke, North Carolina in the championship. I have Duke.
Duke.
Let me get the Dukies.
All right, guys. Duke, North Carolina. Everyone on their mom.com has Duke and North Carolina. I'll let you guys go first, and I'll tell you who I have as my champion.
Yeah, right now with the way Duke's playing, as long as Zion's healthy, R.J. Barrett, Cam's in there. There's so much talent. They're playing so good together. They all have their roles. They're doing really well. R.J. Barrett does not get enough credit. Zion steals all the notoriety, but Barrett is so stinking good. I love Duke right now. They just have such a complete team, and I'm going to have them as my championship team.
All right.
Okay. Well, I said it just the last round. If North Carolina is going to face Duke, if you go with stats and you go with all the numbers, North Carolina is going to win this game. And they're not going to let what happened in the championship and have the 12 seconds go past them so fast and actually put up a really good shot to finish that game. They're going to win that game if that ends up being the case.
So 1-1, Edward, you're the tiebreaker, man. Isn't it weird? The suspense has built up to this moment. You're going to be the tiebreaker.
Yes, I am, and I got my champion. And I'm going to have to say one thing real quick. I think the national champion, 2019 Final Four, NCAA tournament, March Madness, # North Carolina Tar Heels. In a classic. They've already beat them. They beat him twice this year, right? One with the blown shoe and one when he was there.
Correct.
And they lost in the tournament. The chemistry, the way to beat them is already there, and two of the most franchise heralded coaches in the history of college basketball going at each other. This will be one of the greatest finals in the history. Just from alone the two teams that are in it, if this happens. But I have North Carolina right there. You see it. North Carolina. It's on the board, everybody, right there. There's the logo. Bright baby blue, baby. North Carolina Tar Heels. Just with what to know, what to do at the right time. Win it on the last second shot. Villanova.
If these two teams make it there, this is going to be the most anticipated final.
Most watched final in a long time.
It's going to be unreal.
Unreal.
I gotta say this, Eddie, Edward, that we are on the same page on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think so. So, this is just going on this bracket. I'm going to change a lot of stuff as the week comes in mind. It'll be similar to this. But join it if you think you know better and you think, no, Duke's going to win. North Carolina, you guys are stupid. Well, put it on the board, $50 on the table. Try it. See if you can do it. Links are everywhere. Every day I'm going to put the links out like 3 times a day. Well, there you go. Monday Night Madness, baby. Only an hour and 40 minutes. That's all it took. Back to the live bracket real quick. There it is. Yeah, North Carolina champion. Here's the whole thing right here. I'm going to take a screenshot of this and post it as well so it's up on all social media so everyone can see it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hey, thank you guys for coming on the show tonight and having a good time. So much stuff coming up. Real quick. Friday, live draft, 7 p.m. In Trust We Fantasy Baseball. Boom. Everyone's going to be here. We have a little bit different setup than we did with the football because we're going to have the big screen showing us basketball at the same time. Because we're going to be drafting baseball, live on air, and watching NCAA basketball. Does life get any better than that?
I mean,
And we're drinking.
and not only that, talking about baseball, did you see who got picked up today?
Gio Gonzalez went to the Yankees.
You got it.
There it is. I was going to mention that at the beginning of the show too, but I thought Blake Bortles to the Rams was more important. So,
Blake, that's rough. That's rough NFL news when Blake Bortles is your headline.
he was the number. Actually, Gio Gonzalez was number 1 trending. He was 2. So at least he didn't. At least Gio has that going for him there.
There it is.
Yeah, but everyone who picked him up hoping that may be a Gio long relieving role. So for a while until an injury. So that's not a good pickup for everyone who has Gio Gonzalez in their fantasy leagues as well. So guys, like I said, there'll be no In Trust We Sports podcast this week because we're doing the live draft on Friday. Monday is the Monday Night Rants MLB preview. The whole show, just like we did tonight, will be just baseball preview. Who's going to win each division? Then we'll have our MVP votes. We'll have our Rookie of the Year votes. And, of course, we'll have our World Series and playoff votes, wild card votes, all that stuff. Boom. I may make another crazy bet again. I don't know. So, fun show tonight. There's our bracket. We laid it out. I got to go to bed. These guys got to go to bed because we got a huge day tomorrow of redoing this whole entire thing at least 5 times. Like I said, I'll take a screenshot. I'll post it. Everyone can see it. The In Trust We Madness brackets as well. This is my bracket. Will be the Monday Night Rants bracket. That's me. Beat me. Win $50. Just kidding. Whoever gets first is the only person that gets $50. That's it.
Talk to Anthony for more money.
Yeah. If you need more money, Anthony Zaragoza at Zaragoza Anthony is your man.
You know, the way my checking and savings account work, I can't withdraw that much money at one time.
He has a $100 limit, so only 2 people can get money from him.
And I only have $32 in my account, so there's
and no overdraft protection, so he's screwed.
Yes. Hopefully Sarah's not listening to this. Honey, we're going to have grocery foods. Trust me.
All right,
we'll
guys.
have food on the table.
All right, one more look at the bracket. There it is. North Carolina, Duke, Michigan, Tennessee, North Carolina in the Final Four. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Thank you guys so much. At Zaragoza Anthony on Twitter. At Jay Stanhill on Twitter. I am at Edward Rouse. We will see you Friday for the live draft for In Trust We Fantasy Baseball. And on Monday, the baseball preview show as well. Baseball starts this week, guys, on the 20th. If you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time, you enjoy that game. I will watch the replays. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on Friday and on Monday. Enjoy the week. Enjoy March Madness. I'm so excited. It's a holiday for me. And always remember to spay and neuter your pets. Boom.